Welcome to the platform where the stories weigh a ton. Squat, bench, dead, we rise as one. Michigan's lifters, this is our home. Turn it up, feel that foam. This is the platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bar is loaded. We are back with another episode of The Platform. I'm your co-host, as always, Chris Whitaker, Dexter High School, Iron Dread Strength and Conditioning, Iron Dread Powerlifting, and Michigan High School Powerlifting Association board member. I'm here with my regular co-host. His name, his title. He's the executive director of the Michigan High School Powerlifting Association. He's our leader in this venture. And his name, Coach Chris Gillum. Coach Gillum, good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always like doing this.
Yeah, it's we have a good time, and this one here will be another good one. We have one of our newest members of the board. This man, from day one when I met him, I knew we would be friends. Not just from our opinions on lifting technique, not just from our opinions on music, our opinions on energy drinks. I knew, this episode of The Platform, sponsored by Jocko Fuel, jockofuel.com. Promo code coming soon. This gentleman is the powerlifting coach at Dowagiac High School. His name is Brian Litten. Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And, this is one of those where, we're spotlighting the board members, bringing the board members out, letting everybody get to know us, and, of course, have some fun. I'm sure this one will be a good time. With that, I kick it to Coach Gillum for question one.
All right. Brian, welcome. Thanks for being with us. Just want to get a little bit of background on you. So tell us what your occupation is. Talk to us about some of your hobbies and interests besides powerlifting. If you're married, if you have kids, things like that. Just give us some background info.
Oh, man. Well, I am here at Dowagiac High School. This is my second year teaching here. I used to be a principal in Benton Harbor. I don't know if anybody knows where Benton Harbor, Michigan is, but I used to be a principal there for 4 years. Did not do anything with powerlifting then. Prior to that, I lived in Tennessee, coached a little football down in Tennessee, eventually became an assistant principal there and kind of went through the admin route and then decided I wanted to get back to teaching. So I'm back here as a government and econ teacher here at Dowagiac. I've coached sports, I guess, for the last, it seems weird to say this, but the last 17 years. I started when I was 18. Coach Jennings, who I know you're going to have on the podcast, was my defensive line coach and good friend of mine. And he's the one who kind of started me in the whole powerlifting journey. I went to Lake Orion High School. I don't know how much you want to go into detail there. I'm sure we're going to talk about it. I got good memories of that time. Went to Lake Orion High School, was a part of the state champion powerlifting teams back then. Had a blast doing it. And, eventually I knew that I wanted to coach powerlifting, and it just kind of waited because I coached when I was down at I worked at Lake Orion too. I coached there between 2015 and 16. And then I went to Tennessee. Didn't have any powerlifting there. And then now I'm back at Dowagiac. So, and working on a program here that's kind of been, I went back and did the history. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the history of the program. Chris, I don't know when you started either, but apparently in 2011, we had a kid who he won back-to-back state titles in the 194 and 207 weight class. So I'm kind of interested to meet that guy. So just fun little facts about Dowagiac there. So, and we're trying to build that program here. So that's where we're at.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the fun part for me, Brian, about doing these is like, it always comes up at least once an episode. I'm from New York, right? I don't know where anything is, right? Except for places that we've had meets at. I don't know who's been historically good, who was good and isn't, who's always good, right? So I think that stuff is cool because that also, you are starting and building a tradition there. And we talk about that a lot at meet. Like tradition is a big thing to me. Being from Lake Orion, I know it is there too.
Yes.
So that's, to me, that means a lot. Like when the history and telling the stories to the current generation about what's come before you. So I think that's cool.
It's always interesting telling my kids about like the experience of being a dragon, if you will, a Lake Orion dragon, and the powerlifting tradition that was started in 2000. I mean, I was never good at powerlifting. I'm better now that I've gotten older and I've learned the muscle groups and everything like that. But when I was younger, I didn't have the talent, right? I'm just a short, fat guy and just trying to lift some weights, right? As we all say. And, being then, it was just, I tell the kids, it's just interesting because like we brought so many kids to those meets and he learned real early. It's all about mathematics, but this was before the spreadsheets. And if you guys all know he is a mathematician to like the nth degree. And he was just sitting there in the corner, just playing with the numbers on his little tablet or on his piece of paper. He always used the yellow notebook paper. I always remember that. And he's just doing numbers. And then he's like, okay, you got to go do this so we can win this meet. It's like, yes, sir, go do it. All right, done. And then, it was just an amazing tradition that was started with Ian and Jason Larson. I don't know if you guys ever met Jason Larson, but him and Eric Jennings were the ones who kind of started that program, and it was just fun to be a part of. And I was one of the first freshmen to ever go to a meet for Lake Orion. Now, did I ever do any good? Not really, but I still had fun doing it. So, which is what I tell the kids. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So what years were you at Lake Orion as a student?
6 to 2009. Yeah,
Okay.
no, 2005 to 2009.
Gotcha.
I'll always remember not to call out the Clarkston Wolves here, but that they were always our rival. So you can edit this out if you need to. But in 2007, this is like my favorite story in terms of sports. 2006, Clarkston beat us in the and we were like third or fourth place. And we're like, okay, all right, okay. Next year we show up and we bring a team, like we bring hundreds of kids, it feels like, and we're just up in the crowd and they go, and second place, Clarkston, and we went nuts. It was insane. Like we all knew right then that we won the state title and we rushed that floor and it was so much fun. It's a fun time. And when you build that team and that tradition, like you said, Chris, it's like, you just want to go back to that time. You just want to keep that thing going and just building on it. So I'm excited about Dowagiac, and that's where I think we're getting to one day, hopefully. So building that tradition.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and what's unique about our sport is, as we've talked to some other coaches, some of our JV state championship schools, they have 200 or less kids in their building, and they won the state title because they have a couple handfuls of boys or a couple handfuls of girls that are really good at what they do. And, they're able to capture a state title, and hopefully they'll build it from there. And there'll definitely be teams to keep an eye out on over the next 2 years as they enter varsity.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So, what are the numbers like, for you?
Last year we had 11 kids total, and then this year we had about 15 that went to meets. Now, interestingly enough, my biggest competitor is wrestling, if you'll call it a competitor. And our school has a deep tradition in wrestling. So I'm trying to get some of the wrestler kids to come out to the powerlifting meets. The hard thing is finding that time when they can go to a meet because they don't have a wrestling meet. Those things are hard. But I mean, in general, on paper, we had about 60 kids show up on day one. And then they kind of just fizzled out a little bit. So we're hoping that this year we can start out again with a big number and then go from there. I need assistant coaches. So if anybody wants to come over to Dowagiac, I can't guarantee them a teaching job or anything, but I need assistant coaches. That's for sure. So that'll help me get more kids. So
yeah, for sure. Well,
and it's unpaid, of course, so yeah.
The challenge isn't just recruiting the kids, it's recruiting help, because it's not easy to keep your eye on everything that's going on. It takes a lot of planning and organization, whether you have 15 kids or you got 50. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it if you want to run it well, So,
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I'm hoping to get one of those too. I'm assistant coach. At one point, we got to 120, and that was not good. I got guys that volunteer to come help me at the meet, but managing the whole thing. So I'm with you.
It's just it's almost doing a disservice to the kid if you can't coach them like be right there next to them the whole time. But then you got another kid 4 racks down. It's like, oh, I need to go help them because I see something on their form, and then you're bouncing all over the place. It's like the kids felt bad for me the first couple of days, but then I honestly think that kind of also dropped the numbers a little bit because they're like, okay, he's got too many kids in here. I'm getting overlooked, and I felt bad about that. And that's something, I'm sure that's everybody's issue though, and that's a thing with a club sport. So yeah, we'll get
For
there.
sure.
I've said mine with a packet, like a prepared, like, here's your opening attempts. And then as you warm up, you have the freedom to adjust. And then this is how you adjust the other attempts down the list. And I think that has helped. So if you find yourself in the same situation next year, which I probably will as well, because now too, they're going to go, oh, hey, you're on the board. We need your help at platform 6. As Chris can tell you, having that plan for them and sending them with that, I think goes a long way. And I do a Google form questionnaire after the fact. So like, yeah, I talk to every kid or try to talk to every kid, but then they also give me some feedback. And that was something I started last year. Feedback after the meet to
I like that.
help guide them and see what they thought of the day and and all that. So,
well, and we'll talk about it probably some other time, but the app that we were looking at the state meet, I think that's going to help coaches a ton. Do you agree with that, Brian, with your experience with it?
I played with it and it was awesome. You could tell when your guys were up and everything. I'm excited about that. I mean, this is, to me, the first big technology breakthrough was just doing the spreadsheets. Because I remember when, I think it was Mona Shores that did that first. I could be wrong, but my brother was powerlifting and I was coaching with E. And I was like, what is this? Why are everybody's on their phone? And I'm like following this thing. I'm like, this is insane. This changes everything. Now, I feel like E doesn't have as much of a job now because he doesn't have to calculate, but
Yeah. When we first started using the spreadsheets at first were different. And I'll be honest, I'm an old school guy like E was. I was still clipboard with my sheets of paper, and I made a list of the kids that I knew that my kids would be competing against, and I kind of miss those days. Now
maybe we should do a no technology meet just to see how the younger guys deal with
Advantage Coach Jennings and Coach Gillum, because that's how we cut our teeth. You know what I mean? So I think everybody's too reliant on it now, but yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you can go back to those times. Yeah, Mona Shores first time having like the current spreadsheet. Everybody kind of had their own for a few years, and so then we've just improved it from there. So yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. All right, so you're brand new to the board. All right, you've had experience as a lifter, and you helped out at Lake Orion when you were first started coaching and stuff. What's the difference being the main man, the only man technically, compared to just being an assistant?
That's a good question. Being the assistant, I really tried to learn as much as I could, if that makes sense. You had E, obviously, who's great with the whole powerlifting concept. Jimmy Caritas, I don't know if you guys ever met Jimmy, but he was with me at Lake Orion for a couple years, and he was a phenomenal scientific guy. He played Division II football at Northern Michigan. I think he still has. It might be changed now, but he had the record for most tackles in a game at 29. So he was pretty impressive as a linebacker. And I'm sure he's going to listen to this episode and he's going to make fun of me for saying that, but it is what it is. Yeah, but he's a very scientific analytical guy. Whereas Larson, the guy that I played under and learned under, he was more, he kind of did the feel thing and then he would just go with it, type stuff. And, it's just interesting tying all of that together now that I'm in charge of my own program and being like, okay, I want to take this. I want to take this. I really want to institute this part, and all that stuff, and trying to build my own program that also works with our kids. At Lake Orion, the kids were there and then they would come to practice after school or they would come before school. Here at Dowagiac, this is interesting. And I don't know if you guys experience this in your districts, or I'm sure there's other schools that do this as well. But our juniors and seniors are gone by 11 o'clock and they're going to college classes or they're going to work-based. So to get them back here is a pain for them to come back and try to practice. So I've got to almost run an open weight room concept from 2:15 to 4:30, saying, okay, you got to get in here. Here's your workout. We got to get this thing going. Whereas I can't really do like a team warm up because I'd be warming up kids as they're coming in waves. And then I can't really if you know what I mean. So I've got to go back and forth. So it's trying to find. So the difference between being an assistant is like, I'm the only one in charge of the whole thing, trying to figure out how exactly we're going to do this, compared to I could just rely on E or Jimmy or Larson back in the day just to get me, I could just, okay, I'm going to go work on the squat kids and I'm just going to focus on them the whole time. Whereas now I got to be like, okay, I got waves coming in here. You got to stretch. Okay. I've also got to watch 14 kids over there squatting, and 10 kids over there deadlifting and all that stuff. So it's a fun time and it's a headache that I enjoy having, as weird as it sounds, because I'm trying to find the best solution to be as strategic as possible in this case. So if that all makes sense, I don't know.
No,
So,
I mean, chances are there's another coach in the state that has something similar, and maybe they've found a thing that works for them. Maybe they can reach out to you and give you a little bit, because that is a unique situation that you have with, the open practice. I mean, I've done open practices before, but I've done it based on the holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to say at Lake Orion, we would do them on, Christmas break, something like that. You could come in and get your lift in and we'll be here for 3 hours. This is like every day I've got to, try to strategically have this plan. And then the other thing is like some of them, you got to bring them back, because once they're gone from the building, what's going to do I really want to go back to school? And then you got to find that fire in them to, hey, if you come back, you could, working toward championships here, or we're working toward getting you better. So that's it's a challenge in itself right there. So.
For sure. So E is definitely one of your mentors. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Who, and what was the name of the other gentleman?
I would say, in terms of powerlifting, Jason Larson, and Eric Jennings, and then Jimmy Caritas would be my 3 mentors in powerlifting. You should get all 3 of them on the podcast. I know Eric Jennings is going to be, but Jason Larson would be a very interesting perspective. He's now the principal at Lapeer High School. So, yeah. But he was like my father figure in high school. So, but yeah, he's an awesome guy, great powerlifting coach, and really pushed us to be very competitive, above everything else. He always used to say the old quote of, I hate losing more than I like to win. And that kind of insinuated in us in football and in powerlifting. So.
Awesome.
So, we've kind of bounced all around, like where you've answered a lot of our questions. So you're keeping us on our toes here, because, hey, we're becoming professional, semi-professional, amateur, closer to amateur broadcasters here, where we're trying to not step on each other and don't ask the same question, because with my luck, I will ask the same question that Chris asked already. But I know he did not ask this one. What's one piece of advice you'd give for another coach looking to start or improve their powerlifting team?
Is just get the kids there. I always say to the kids, if you show up to one meet, you will be hooked for life. And that's honestly been my thing. Ever since, like, when I was at Orion, it was like we try to get our friends to come to the meets. And then, I coached the Sacred Heart for 5 years when I was going to Central Michigan. They're up in Mount Pleasant. And, I would just get the kids to go to the meet, and then they wouldn't want to leave. They'd be like, okay, this is fun. I like doing this. We never had it in Tennessee, but here it's like, if I could get you to go to one meet, I got you hooked, and then you're on the team. So you just gotta trust the process. I know the old adage of trust the process kind of gets annoying sometimes, but in powerlifting, it's a big deal. You just got to trust it. Get the kids to go to one meet and they'll be hooked. That's how you start a program. You can't start something if you don't actually get them there. So that's kind of and especially you got to go yourself too. If it's a coach who's never even seen something like this, you got to try and go yourself and see what it's like. And don't be afraid of it too. And then fight for it too. That's the other thing. I think it should be a varsity sport in all schools. And I know it's not. I know it's not in our school. It's a club sport. And it's not even necessarily the MHSPLA part of it. It's just, we just got to fight to get it to that level of respect. And it's going to be there. It's just a matter of time, and keep on fighting for it. So,
yeah, there's more and more schools that it is a sport now. They're getting letters for it. Coaches are getting paid stipends. and it wasn't that long ago. There wasn't many,
Correct. Yeah.
so I know it's starting to grow throughout the state because there's teams popping up. I mean, we had like around 80 different schools represented at the state meet. I mean,
That's
that's
insane.
the most I can remember. Now, they're not all the same size. Every school has a different number of roster sizes, but yeah. Going back to like your experience and time in the MHSPLA, whether it was lifting, coaching, or whatever, besides the technology, what's something else that you've noticed that has changed or shifted a lot from when you participated to now when you're coaching?
I mean, the biggest one is the number of girls lifters. It's amazing. When I don't remember, there might have been 2 platforms worth when I first started. Now mind you, this was I feel old saying it, about 20 years ago. And now you got a whole separate meet for them. So that's the biggest change, is just the growth in the girls sport. And here, girls are easier to convince at Dowagiac to join than the boys are, it feels like, because they're like, oh, I don't have to be really strong and buff to go lift. No, you just got to try, and we'll go from there. So like, I got a girl who's, she didn't do a meet this year just because her schedule is kind of weird, but she weighs 97 pounds soaking wet. And, she's super athletic, used to be a cheerleader. And I'm excited for her to go to a meet because she's going to realize real fast, like, oh, I could do this. So, that's the fun part about it. And I think seeing the girls progress has been an interesting aspect. In terms of the whole program in general, I think you said it, the technology, but that is a huge change just from when I was younger doing it. So,
Yeah, I mean, back in the old days, we had to hand score everything, and that took a while. It was a challenge for sure. So yeah, definitely the girls have expanded. I mean, I went from, now there's JV and varsity women. So that's still fairly new. People don't think it is, but that just means they haven't been involved since season was the first year with JV women. I mean, in the big picture, that's not that long ago.
No, it's not at all. That's less than 10 years ago.
Yeah. So it's fairly new. And I think that's why we keep seeing so many records getting broken at that division, because, they're more involved, so a lot more girls, a lot more competition. And we talked about it with Darren. I mean, I think the girls' numbers have exploded in participation and their performance since COVID. That's went up a lot since COVID for the girls, especially.
So we kind of already talked about the numbers that you've had in your program. So that brings us to this one here, and this is I think I know probably one of my favorite questions that we have here. Powerlifting is a sport that many experience failures. What is your favorite failure or a setback that ultimately set you up for success later, either in the sport or in life?
I've listened to you ask this question now for the last 2 podcasts, and that is a great question. In terms of my greatest Gillum wrote it. Kudos to you, Gillum. That's a good question. In terms of powerlifting, I think missing my last deadlift my senior year, I think it was like 6 something. It was something to qualify for states, and I'd missed it. I got it to like halfway up my knees, and then I couldn't pull through. But going back in time and thinking about that has pushed me to realize, okay, how important is it for us to, as a team or as kids, is we've got to push through the last lift. We got to keep on pushing. So just teaching them that. Personally, I mean, I'm a Dave Ramsey guy. I teach economics. So I don't know if you guys know who Dave Ramsey is, but I teach my kids all the time about debt. I teach driver's ed on the weekends. So I can't say that my biggest failure is having so much student loans. I have to say this, so sorry guys, but having so many student loans that I miss a lot of my, like right now I'm doing driver's ed and I'm missing my girls. So I have 2 young, I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning, but I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I'm missing like her softball because I'm teaching driver's ed. So, that's like one of my biggest failures. And I use that as a driving point with the kids all the time when I'm teaching economics. So, Sorry, I know it's not powerlifting, but it is my biggest failure in my opinion. It's the student loan aspect. So sorry. But anyway, the last deadlift, missing that and then teaching the kids with that aspect of, hey, we've got to push through the last one. You never know when your last lift's going to be. You want to make it count and all that stuff. So yeah.
Good. Thank you for sharing that. Those
Mhm.
are good lessons. I mean, I think, and you know what, you're not the only dad that's had to do extra stuff to make ends meet for whatever reason. I've missed a lot of stuff too, and yeah, you're not lonely when it comes to that. So
It still sucks. And it's a failure that I
it
try to
does.
teach the kids is, don't do what I did. So, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't be here to teach them if I didn't do what I did. So,
for sure. Well, and chances are, you keep doing this long enough, your kids you'll get to coach them in the sport, possibly.
I'm okay with that. Now teaching them how to drive, I don't want to have to do that, but yeah. So
Yeah. Well, you have to talk to my wife about that because she does driver's training in the past as well, and yeah, so she had to do
if she
some
wants a
with my.
job, have her contact me.
Okay, I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
You guys are looking, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're always looking. I'm one of the owners of our business, and we definitely need some more. So, not to
Okay.
promote, also brought to you by Jocko Fuel, but also brought to you by West Coast Driving School in Southwest Michigan. So, yeah,
Yeah, that's the last thing we need is a bunch of teenagers hopped up on Jocko doing their driving test. So, all right.
Nerves of steel,
Yeah,
drivers and
definitely.
instructors.
What do you think's the hardest thing to coach or teach in the sport of powerlifting?
I also love this question. Emotional control is the hardest thing to control or hardest thing to teach. The kids in today's world, and you guys have seen this too as coaches, it's the instant gratification society that we have to deal with social media, and they want to look cool and all that stuff, and they see kids and they see professional athletes, and not to knock any professional athletes, but anytime that I see, and I always tell kids, if I see the hands up, that's the mindset of a loser in my book. If you're blaming somebody else, then we got a problem. Chris and I are Jocko guys, extreme ownership, right? That's the whole concept there. If you mess up, then it's on you. You've got to figure out how you can fix it in that mentality. And I think one of the downsides of there it is. Yeah, exactly. One of the downsides of powerlifting that I've seen since I've come back to the sport is when kids miss a lift, they'll like throw their headphones and stuff like that. Now, mind you, I don't think it's as bad as when I first was in there, or, in 2005, 2006 and stuff like that. But still, you see that and it's like, okay, that is not the sign of a winner. And we need to stop that in our sport. Because you've also got young kids watching and all that. Maybe it sounds corny and all that stuff, but I don't want my kids seeing somebody throwing stuff because they missed a lift. They need to turn that back on themselves and be like, okay, what can I do next time? So, I think emotional control is something that is valuable, extremely valuable. And Jocko would say it all the time. If you can't control your emotions, then you're basically worthless out there. We got to make sure that we're controlling those emotions. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Whitaker,
for sure.
yeah. So, they got to, that's what I tell my kids is if you're going to act a fool out there, I'm not going to take you to meets. I don't want kids who are going to represent Dowagiac in a negative way or represent our sport in a negative way. Like we're here to try to, yes, improve ourselves. And that's the joy of powerlifting is you're trying to get better with every lift. But if you're going to go out there and chuck your headphones and get mad and go off and like pout, then this isn't the sport for you. Now, mind you, I don't know if any sport really is for you in that case, but that's something that we got to work on. And that's something that I always tell my kids. That's one of my number one priorities when I first start with them is I don't deal with cussing. Like if you cuss around me, you're doing push-ups right away. And if you're going to throw things, we got a problem. It's not happening. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can totally respect that. Bringing up the emotional control. I run the leadership conference for the Football Coach Association, and that was one of our topics this year with the breakout rooms with the kids is emotional control. And so it's interesting that you bring that up because, I mean, it's important in every sport and it's important in life. I mean, we all have emotions and we're going to let them get the best of us from time to time. Your ability to control them in moments, teaching a young kid that it doesn't make you who you are, but it makes you who you could end up being if you don't get control over it. So I appreciate that. That's great.
Just don't make me do push-ups if I curse near you.
Ugh.
I'm from, again, in New York. It's sometimes the F word's used as a comma. I promise I won't do it in public. But from the Discipline Equals Freedom field manual, the only person you can control is you. So focus on making yourself who you want to be. Faster, stronger, smarter, more humble, less ego. Controlling it all. And
That's a great book.
Controlling
That's
our
awesome.
emotions.
I had
Whit,
a
I
coach
think
in
we-
college. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was going to say, Whit, I think we need to give Gillum that book too, and so we can get as many Jocko fans as we can right there. So,
Well,
yeah.
it's that I got leadership strategies and tactics. A lot of the other ones I did were, and we could go on a whole podcast about our Jocko fandom, but I did a lot of them on audiobook.
Yeah. I've listened to probably Extreme Ownership I make it a goal of listening to it once a year. So I've read it a couple times, but listening to it is, when you're running or lifting is always good too. So
I got you. Yeah.
Due to go back to it. You'll like it, Gillum. Hey, if you don't have an Audible account, I'll send you a link and you can listen to it for free.
Okay.
Like every good drug dealer, Audible gives you your first book free.
Yeah, get you hooked.
Yeah.
No, what you were talking about earlier, Chris, like plugging that book and stuff, but I had a coach in college and it just made such an impact on me that, he just, kids, emotional control or excuse making, things like that. He just, in a subtle way, he just said, gentlemen, you only have control of two things ever in your life. Everything else you have no control over. So why waste time and energy getting upset over it? But he's like, you can control your own attitude and your own effort.
That's good stuff.
You always have control of your own attitude and your own effort. Nothing else. You can't control taxes. You can't control the weather, and he went on a spiel, and that always sat in with me. Like, there's times I have to remind myself of that because, stuff doesn't go the way you want or plan. I don't care what age you are. Sometimes it gets you ruffled, especially if you invested a lot of time into it. So you want to start off the rapid fire here, Coach?
Yeah, I'm going to say just one more thing on that, controlling your emotions. This is another good one. I'm not going to say the title of it. It's not a Jocko book. But this is another great one if we're talking about books. And then of course you have
my daughter has that book.
It's the companion book to it that came out after that. But
you're going to owe me some push-ups there, Whit.
Two very good ones right there. But yes, we'll get started with the speed questions here. These are real quick, Brian, like fast, like you've heard our other episodes, so you kind of see how that works. Just real quick off the top of your head, how you would answer these. Which do you prefer as a coach and as a lifter in your case? Squat, bench press, or deadlift?
Squat, hands down.
Are you a low bar or high bar squatter personally? And what do you teach?
Personally, I've always done high bar, but I'm trying to learn more low bar to teach the kids. So, yeah.
Sumo or conventional deadlift?
Ooh, I grew up sumo and then I got transformed into conventional. So, and I even do conventional on my own too. So, yep.
Do you prefer for your kids a 1 rep max or a rep PR?
A 1 rep max.
How about personally?
Personally, I still do the 1 rep maxes on my own. And then, the biggest thing is the rep outs after that. So, but yeah.
Gotcha. As I've told Whitaker, the 1 rep max, it'll disappear with age.
I'm not there yet. So,
yeah, I know you're not.
I'm not willing to give it up either.
Well, we'll see you in 15 years.
No more than 5. No more on max every day. No more than 5.
Yeah, I got you.
Your best accessory exercise for the squat?
Honestly, as old school it is step ups.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Is that a personal choice?
No, actually, I like doing it with the kids too, because it forces them to keep their a good arch with their back too as they're going up and down. So, and it kind of focuses. I mean, the biggest thing for me is the arch at all times, is trying to even try to make them walk the hallways in the arch, having that arch in their back and having that good posture. And I think the step ups is a as the kids would say, a low key way to get them to do it as much as
Do you
possible.
teach it with dumbbells or barbell?
Yes.
How do you?
Dumbbells. We just started getting kettlebells, so yes,
Okay,
we're getting there.
nice. What's the best accessory exercise for bench press?
I love dumbbell rows. I think those are hands down, in my opinion, very important. Flies are important, but they're more of a stretch in my book. Whereas the dumbbell rows really works the alternative muscles and anything with triceps. Sorry, I know these are supposed to be rapid fire.
No, you're good.
Best accessory exercise for the deadlift.
Box jumps. Something that's going to make you explode in my book. So something that's going to make you pop. Even doing just getting on your knees and jumping to your feet, the knees to feet, just doing that a bunch, I think helps with the deadlift. So that last, like going back to that 600 deadlift that I missed, it's that last hip motion that, I couldn't get it through. So, I always kind of come back to that in my head. Like we got to get that fast hip motion at the end has got to be big. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, to me, I deadlift, I always looked at it. Where do they need the most help? Is it off the floor? Is it at lockout? So depending on the kid, their best accessory could be different because they struggle with lockout or they struggle off the floor. So same with squat. Are they slow out of the hole or are they slow at lockout? So awesome. Wow. Thanks for being with us, man. This is fun. It's getting to know you a little bit more each day and that we get a chance to talk to you. I appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you. It's been fun. So, yeah.
Anything, Brian, that we haven't talked about that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I believe I'm the Zone 6. Is that correct? Okay, so I'm the Zone 6 board member. I've never been on the board before. This is my first, year with it, so I'm excited about that. And I just want to help everybody in Southwest Michigan. So I want to try to grow the sport over here because I think there's a sleeping giant, if you will, down here. We got a lot of farm kids, and it'll be interesting if we can grow this sport. So hopefully, with me being here in Dowagiac, we can kind of get that thing going. And then just, I think I got to say, I love E, Coach E. I wouldn't be here without him. That being a board member, being a power lifter, he completely changed my life. So, Eric Jennings has got to get a lot of credit. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Plenty of love for Coach Eric Jennings.
Yeah, we'll probably have another episode explaining the zones that you mentioned because we've divided the state into zones for registration purposes and to have a liaison within those zones. And so you're representing basically Southwest Michigan is what Zone 6 is. So thanks for mentioning that. Appreciate it.
One more thing. It is a Teacher Appreciation Week, so I got to say thank you to all the teachers out there. So,
yes.
I don't know when this episode is going to get released, but it's coming out, and those power lifters, they need to keep their grades up in order to lift. And, it comes down to those teachers are helpful. So teachers, thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
15% off at Texas Roadhouse this week.
Nice.
For teachers.
Sweet.
Yeah. Rumor has it. I think it's 15. I don't know. My wife told me. I got enough stuff. I'm like, we don't need to go to Texas Roadhouse this week. So, Chris, anything else for Brian before we sign off?
We're excited to have you on the board. I appreciate it. You came highly recommended from Eric Jennings, and to have somebody that has experience as a lifter and coaching is going to be very beneficial to our board of directors, so that our association can keep growing into the future, and just, in the little bit of time, like there's more changes coming, and I think they're all positive and exciting. So thank you for being with us. And it was good to talk to you a little bit more and get to know you better.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. This has been another episode of The Platform where the stories weigh a ton.
chalked up, clock's counting down. Another early morning in a small town gym right now. Steel on sleeves, heart in your hands. Every rep, every meet, building Michigan's strongest plans. Welcome to the platform, where the stories weigh a ton. Squat, bench, dead, we rise as one. Michigan's lifters, this is our home. Turn it up, feel that foam. This is the platform. Bus rides, late nights, singles in the duffel bag. White lights, red lights, every call, every flag. From the first warm up to that last grind set. We talk chalk, talk nerves, talk the best you haven't met yet. Welcome